Detroit: Become Human is easily one of the strongest narrative-based video games of the current generation. This choice-based game is created by legendary game designer David Cage and studio Quantic Dream. It is a thrilling experience that is not to be missed.
Detroit. This is where it all began. The world's forge. The place where it all started. And it will all end.
It is the year 2038, and humanity has created the perfect worker, the android. As the game explains it, it never says no, it never betrays its programming, and it will never turn on its master. You follow 3 separate stories: housekeeping android Kara, caretaker android Marcus, and the deviant hunter android Connor, as a change begins to happen across the country. Androids are waking up. They're betraying their masters, disobeying programming, and maybe even feeling human emotion. You as the player shape the narrative as you follow these 3 androids as they face tough decisions, ethical dilemmas, and questions about who they really are.
My name is Connor. I'm the android sent by CyberLife.
It's firing at everything that moves. It already shot down 2 of my men. Saving that kid is all that matters. So either you deal with this fucking android now, or I'll take care of it.
I honestly don't even know where to start with this game. For those of you who may not recall, I demoed this game on the show floor at PAX East 2018. When I finished the demo, I said it was just an incredibly intense experience. The demo is actually the opening scene of the game where Connor, the android hunter, is on his first mission to stop a deviant who's taken a little girl hostage. And I had seen that now like 3 or 4 times actually before even I got the game. And I still really enjoyed that first sequence, and the rest of the game keeps up that intensity through the whole time. Where this game really succeeds is in its story. It is one of the most well thought out, intense, smart, intelligent narratives I've seen in a long time in a video game. And at the helm are the 3 characters, Kara, Marcus, and Connor. As long as you're willing to overlook the sci-fi nature of this, where you kind of might question the fact that how is an android able to feel human emotions, as long as you can overlook that, the game is fantastic. It's gripping, it's intense. Like, I really can't think of how to explain it, but when for example, Kara's narrative starts with, Kara is the housekeeping android for a gentleman by the name of Todd and his little girl Alice. And her sequence opens up with her in an android repair shop getting picked up by Todd because she was damaged mysteriously and her memory had to be wiped. So she doesn't remember a thing. You enter the house and you find out that Todd is an alcoholic and a drug addict and an abusive father to Alice. And her narrative really gets going in the scene where Todd goes too far and is upstairs mercilessly beating Alice, and you as Kara have to make the decision to go against your programming and go save Alice. And if you succeed, your story's on the way and you're going to try and get out of Detroit while you can. And to me, that was the strongest narrative because I cared so much for Alice, and I cared so much that Kara had the ability to feel and care for this little girl. And throughout that whole journey, there were so many moments where I was tensed up. I was nervous for them, and I wanted to make sure they were alive and made it safely out of Detroit. And the other 2 arcs are just as deep. Marcus, the revolutionary. His arc, while it is definitely nothing that you haven't seen, really any of these 3 arcs, you definitely have seen stories like this before, but it's Detroit's spin on these stories that really make it shine. Like Marcus the Revolutionary, you get to decide what kind of a revolutionary he's going to be. Is he going to be a peaceful pacifist? Is he going to be violent? What kind of story, what kind of speeches will he give? You choose all of that. And yeah, the three core stories are fantastic. The developers at Quantic Dream have put in this effort to make sure that if you want to know more about the world that this game takes place in, that you really can. Scattered throughout each of the levels are magazines and TVs that are on playing the news. And if you explore and read the magazines or look at the TV screens, you find out so much about what's going on in 2038 at the time. The relationship between the US and Russia is still as tense as ever, and apparently we're on the verge of World War III, so that's great. And there's a discussion in a sports magazine about letting androids play in professional sports. All of that's there if you want to look for it, which I do. I adored the world of Detroit and wanted to learn more, so I definitely loved exploring and getting to learn about the world around me. Going off of the narrative is just the fact that this is the best choice game I have ever played. Plain and simple. There are so many different endings to this game, so many different branching paths. I think that each main character probably has at least 10 or 20 different endings for their stories. I have only played through it once so far, but I'm definitely not done. I plan to play through this at least 2 more times to see different endings. And everything feels smooth with the choice-based gaming. Like, it in comparison to Life is Strange, where you kind of had choices, but still the narrative was set to lead you to where it needed to. You decide your own narrative is the thing. And the example I use for this will be Connor's arc. Because Connor, if you want, will never betray his programming. He will never question himself, never question if he's human or simply a machine. But depending on the conclusions you make, you can make him start to question himself. And I won't tell you where that leads, but you decide. The narratives are up to you to decide. You decide how long the game is. You decide what happens with everyone. And I give it so much credit for that, because especially as I was playing through the game, my heart was racing out of my chest every time I was playing this game. There's a great sequence. Now this is not a spoiler per se, but if you've played the game, you'll know what I'm talking about. The sequence when Kara is at Zlatko's house trying to escape with Alice was one of the most genuinely tense moments in that game, because I was so worried for the both of them. I joked the next morning with my friends that the game only gave me 3 heart attacks. But honestly, it kind of, like, I obviously did not have a heart attack, but it did have that amount of tension to the point where I was worried about these fictional characters. And that's what good choice gaming is.
My name is Kara.
My name is Connor.
My name is Marcus.
This is our story.
Detroit Become Human is easily one of the best video games of the year so far, and it is easily one of my all-time favorite video games. Its incredible plot, great storytelling, and fantastic choice games make for one of the best experiences available on the PlayStation 4. A 5 out of 5.